Inside this box, we might have a Surron for half the price. Let me explain. Inside this box, we have the Frigo Nova 4, and this bike comes in at a low price of $2,100. And my reasoning for saying this bike is cheap is because a Surron usually costs $4,000. Anyways, right now we're unboxing this bike by taking off all the packaging, and after doing all of that, we can get our first good look at the Frigo Nova 4 out of the box. But anyways, right now we found a couple things inside the box, so let's go check it out. Alright guys, but this is what the bike looks like fully unboxed. And come on, you can't tell me this doesn't look like a Surron or an e-ride or a bike in that class. But anyways, I am so excited to build and ride this bike, but first I found an item inside the box. It came with this box, which usually comes with the charger and other parts to assemble, but let's go check it out. Starting off inside the box, we have these two manuals, and then we have this front number plate that has a Moto Cuts type style. Then we have a bag of tools and spare parts to assemble this bike, as well as with this phone stand, an air tag, and one of my favorite things to see on this bike is a 5-amp charger. But before we build this bike, we have to do one more thing. And I've never seen a bike have this, but this bike was so huge that it came in 2 separate boxes. As you can tell, this box that we just opened contains actual bike frame, and inside this smaller box, we should have the battery and the front wheel. So let's go open this box up. Alright guys, here are the 2 things we found inside the box. We found the tire and we found our battery. But right now we're gonna jump right into assembling this bike, starting out with the handlebars, then moving to the front number plate, then the front tire, making sure everything is tight. And just like that guys, we finished assembling the Frigo Nova 4. Anyways, the specs on this bike are you have a 60 volt 30 amp hour battery, you have a 6 kilowatt belt drive motor, and lastly a far driver controller. But anyways, I'm so excited to ride this bike, so let's just get right to it. Alright guys, right now we are on the Frigo Nova 4, and off rip, this thing feels very legit. So coming from somebody that has ridden a Light Bee X, this bike feels very, very similar to it. It also kind of looks like a Light Bee, or maybe like an e-ride somewhere in between. So definitely giving you that upper middle class of e-bikes. This bike has really good brakes on its stock. You can see it has chrome levers, which look super nice. These levers are also adjustable, so you can like adjust how stiff they are. Then on the handlebars, you have this display, reads everything you need to know, which you turn the display on with this key card. You also have this headlight right here, turn signals, and this super loud horn. And then you have this full twist throttle, which it's decent, but I've seen better. Full suspension also feels really nice. It's pretty soft suspension, so if you're a lighter, smaller rider, it feels nice. But if you're hitting big jumps, it might not be the best. But those are just some features on this bike. Now let me get into the actual specs. You're rocking a 60 volt, 27 amp hour battery, I think. And then on this bike, you have a 6 kilowatt belt drive motor, which belt drives are super cool to see. You usually see them on the Surrons, Talarias, bikes like that, and it's nice to see on this bike that's half the price. And then you have the far driver controller, which is the ones that can be tuned to go faster, and this bike tops out at like 45 or 50, so you can probably tune that. But speaking of a top speed test, I'm gonna run it right now, mode 3, max mode. We're at 3 bars, and yeah, let's do it. Hard to keep the wheel down. As you can tell, we hit 44 miles an hour, which that road was not the best, but that was pretty fast. I would expect you could probably pull anywhere from 50 to 55 miles an hour. But the thing I've noticed about this bike is that mode 3 is the most torque I've ever experienced. Well, I mean on like a bike like this. If you fully throttle it, it's so hard to keep the wheel down. Which mode 3 is great for going fast, but I prefer mode 2 for wheelies. But really quick, let's take it on the off-road and see how it handles. The Frigo handled it perfectly fine. I don't know if it exceeded in the dirt, but it definitely did my expectations. Another cool thing about this bike is that the rear tire is like this Shinko for doing wheelies, and the front is like this knobbier dirt tire. So for street riders who like doing wheelies, that is definitely a pro. But here are my reasons for getting this bike. Another thing I'd like to mention is that all the yellow on this bike is just stickers. So if you like to black this bike out, all you have to do is get like a heat gun and take them off. But I would only get this bike if you're a taller rider who likes the look of the Surron and E-Ride and Talaria and like to have good range and a lot of torque. Otherwise, you could get other bikes that are smaller that have this same amount of power and battery life. But since this bike is bigger, it's going to be better for bigger riders, and it will also have slightly better suspension. That's who I think should get this bike. And this bike is basically like a Surron from like Temu or something. They look almost identical. Maybe this one's a little wider, and they perform almost the same too. Anyways, as I was saying, if you want to pick up this bike, you can head over to Frigo and use discount code Tuttio right here. It saves you like $100, so it's definitely a good discount code. Anyways, guys, if you're interested in getting this fake Surron, I just do it. It's pretty fun. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching till the very end. And I have a crazy video coming up where I'm doing like a $5,000 Super 73 build, so definitely stay tuned for that. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
It ain't nothing new. I'm trying to make an M at 21 and 10 at 22. You can't walk a mile up in my shoe. I ain't nothing like you. You can't walk a